BookTube. So normally in a month, I try and break down my reading into weekly wrap-ups, but for March, since I'm focusing on 4 different mammoths, I thought I would break it down into, once I finish a mammoth, do it that way. And so I did, in fact, finally finish Brandon Sanderson's Rhythm of War. This is book 4 in the Stormlight Archive series, and all of his books are mammoth. They're well over 1,000 pages each. And so I feel like I have the hardest time describing a fantasy series, like reviewing it and describing it, because like, again, it's book 4 and it's a really long series, but it's focusing on people with like magical abilities that they're given these magical abilities through Spren that are kind of like familiars in a way, and so each of them have their own like category of magic. There are things like flying, called wind runners. There's light weaving, where you can change your appearance and change the elements of an object into like water into, a book, or change it to a different shape and a different thing. And then there's a whole bunch of different magical elements there. And I feel like I'm the worst to describe this, but there is a war taking place because there's several different gods. And there are people from the past coming back to life. There are like the humans, there are the magical humans, and then there's this other group of people who are in war against the humans because they think the humans are taking over their planet, and the humans think that these other creatures are taking over their planet. So yeah, it's a whole all-encompassing fantasy series that I'm just gonna give up on explaining, but it is really good. They are very, very long, and so in my opinion, I think they could have used with some editing, but like 75% on in this book was fantastic. He's really, Brandon Sanderson is really good with his action scenes and like building up that momentum, but the part in the middle, it dragged a bit, and so yeah, I think he could have cut it down quite a bit, but it was still really good, and it left on it ended on a cliffhanger, and so yeah, I'm ready to pick up book 5 now, if you please, but it's not gonna be ready for quite a long time. But he is a prolific writer, where he just like, spits them out like no one's business. So we won't have to wait too long. But yes, so I finished that one, and then the other physical book that I finished reading was Custer's Last Stand by Tamara Myers. And again, this cover is the title is what drew me. I'm like, oh my goodness, I love this title. But unfortunately, I didn't love the book. The main character, she was just too snarky, and she tried to come off funny, but it wasn't funny, and it was just tiring, and it ended up being like an unlikable main character for me, which I didn't really care for in like a cozy mystery, like that constant jabbing at people. But it's following a woman who, she is a Mennonite in a Mennonite community, and she's running a bed and breakfast, and then the bad guy comes to town with all this money and wants to, build this like millionaire hotel to bring in lots of tourists and like turn it into kind of like a Lancaster County kind of deal in Pennsylvania. But so yeah, it takes off from there. But yeah, just her character, I did not care for at all. And I was looking at some of the reviews of this, and some of the people as well didn't like it. And so maybe if I started from the beginning and like as a fresh character, like you're just introduced to her, and so like maybe before she's developed these really strong opinions of people, I don't know. But yeah, and also she didn't act like a Mennonite, or at least because she was constant. She had like a negative attitude, and she constantly also thought that she was better than everyone else. Her opinion was the best, and no one could. Everyone else was wrong and she was right. But yeah, anyway, so there's that one. And then for the ebooks, I finished the Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner. And this is one that I finished, was wrapping up in February. I decided to finish like the first day of March. And this is interesting. It kind of gave me vibes of the Potato Peel Society, if anyone's read that, because it's like all like kind of like literary. Everything's revolving around like literature and writers, and so obviously this is Jane Austen, and this is about Jane Austen's estate is kind of like crumbling, and so these group of people, they all get together, and they all have very different backgrounds to try and save Jane Austen's estate, and they're all like trying to get involved, and they're all like I said, from very different backgrounds, and so you follow their journey as well as their like linkage to Austen, because like some of them are like related, like distant relatives of Jane Austen. So yeah, this was really nice. It didn't. I don't know if I would reread it, but it was pretty good. Then I read The Girl Beneath the Sea by Andrew Mayne, and this is a thriller, and I love this cover. This like, because she is a deep sea diver, and she the main character, she acts as she's like part-time policeman, helping them to discover bodies, and then also she dives as well outside of that. And she's a single mom raising a daughter that she's shared with her divorced husband. And so one day she is diving at a spot, like looking for like artifacts, because she is part of like helping, I think, a college, or she is trying to get a degree, or I can't remember, something like that, of her trying to, you know, score like brownie points in a way, or doing homework, something like that, of helping them out. And so while she's on this dive, something like lands above her, splashes above her, and so she looks up, and it's like this dead body. And so she gets embroiled in this mystery of discovering, like, you know, who, you know, because she comes to find out that she has links to this dead body. I'm not going to explain why or who, what all it's about, if you want to read it. But and so she feels not responsible, but she feels the obligation to start hunting down and figuring out who killed her, and, you know, what all is going on there. And of course, the bad guys start going after her, and this whole like thriller, you know, race to get the bad guys ensues. And then the bad guys, of course, they're chasing her as well. So yeah, anyway, this is a really good, like, fast-paced thriller, and I for sure am going to be picking up a book 2 in this series. And I can't remember the name of the series, but it doesn't say it here. But yeah, it was really good. And then I finished State of the Onion by Julie Hazy. And this is book 1 in the series. It's the White House Chef Mystery Series. And this is following a cook at the White House. And she's just walking to work one day when this, like, crazy guy, like, possible terrorist, just runs across the lawn of the White House. And there's, like, FBI and CIA who are like, chasing after him. And so the guy running, like, the people who are chasing him are, like, way far away. And the guy just happens to run right where she's at. So she takes a frying pan, of course, she's a chef, and knocks him on the head. And then this whole mystery thing follows after that. But I really liked the setting of this, which I was kind of like, I didn't know what I would think of it, you know, like a cozy mystery series set at the White House. But yeah, it was a delightful read, and there's like food involved, and a little bit of politics as well, but not much. Surprising for it being set at the White House, because it doesn't get into anything about, you know, like the red and blue side of things or anything like that, which was nice. It for sure focused on, like, her character development, and she is like an assistant chef, and she is thinking of taking the role of, like, the head chef. And so there's also a competition between her and her rival that was I thought kind of funny and interesting as well to add to the mix. So yeah, so I'm for sure going to be continuing on with this series. And then going to middle grade for my Newbery reading, I finished Johnny Tremaine, a story of Boston in Revolt by Esther Forbes. And it says on this cover says, the author of the Pulitzer Prize, Paul Revere, which I read a couple years ago, which I loved. And so this again kind of follows in that vein of really giving a vibrant feel for Revolutionary era Boston, which is just fantastic. And so this is, again, I think she really pulled from her earlier book, because her earlier biography, and creating this children's book, because Johnny Tremaine is also working as a blacksmith like Paul Revere, and but Johnny, he mangles his hand, and so then he kind of struggles, but then he gets a complete career change at a really young age in working with the newspapers and delivering newspapers. And so then he gets pulled into the Revolutionary War through that. And yeah, this was a great read. And I mean, despite this like weird old cover, like it's really a really good book, and I highly recommend this author either her biography of Paul Revere or this one. Like you can't go wrong with her if you like that immersive history. And then I have The 100 Dresses by Eleanor S. And this is another Newbery book. And this was a really short read. I read it on audiobook, and it was something like 45 minutes or something like that. So if you speed it up just a little bit, like I tend to listen to audiobooks like 1.5. It was even quicker than that. And this is following a little girl who is going to school, and she wears just one dress every day. That's it. And her classmates are constantly teasing her for being poor and wearing the same thing every day. And they're constantly asking her about her clothes, and she's like, "I have 100 dresses all lined up at home," and that's her constant response to their teasing. And then I know it's just a short book, I don't want to give it away, but she does in fact have 100 dresses, and it was a really really cute message at the end. And then like the mean girls, they realize their wrongs and try and seek friendship with her in the end, which was really nice. And then I have Fog Magic by Julia L. Sawyer. This is another Newbery win. I'm trying to knock those out because they're like kind of my priority for middle grade, if you can't tell. And so I want to get those done quicker. First before I get on to the lesser on my list, if you will. And so this is following a girl who she loves the fog rolling in, whereas her family's like, "Oh, I hate this fog. It's interrupting our shipping business out on the sea and fishing and everything." So they don't like it, but she really does. And so every time the fog rolls in, she goes out and exploring. And so one day, this area that just had like old plots of where houses used to be, all of a sudden with the fog, you see these houses come up. And so she is kind of like going back in time to when this was an old community back when it was up and running with all these families there. And so she befriends a family there. And so every time the fog comes in, she goes back in time to hang out with them and form friendships there. And this was a really, really nice read as well. And it's all about kind of like growing up, and because at 12 years old, I don't want to give it away, but at 12 years old, she like I don't know, like loses that ability. And so it's like about like cherishing your childhood and also preparing yourself for adulthood. So yeah, those are all my books that I finished so far. This is the 10th. I believe, and so, or the 11th, I don't know. All my dates kind of run together here, but so yeah, I have 3 more mammoths to read, and they are, I have 2 right here, but then I have 1 more. I have on my desk, Battle Cry of Freedom and The Assassin's Cloak, along with The Two Ocean War by Samuel Eliot Morison that I'm reading right now. So yeah, I will come back once I've finished another mammoth. Wish me luck. Okay, I'll see you soon. Thanks, Book 2.